Really enjoyed this week's chat with Peter. We covered a lot of the games that have postseason implications, but not quite all of them. And one that we do want to focus on is in the early window on Fox, the Washington Commanders going on the road to try to exact some revenge on the Dallas Cowboys. It's the perfect candidate for on the road. It's presented by Honda. Dreams are unstoppable. And yes, the Commanders booked their ticket to the playoffs last week with the overtime win against Atlanta, but still plenty to play for. They can secure the number 6 seed with a win against the Cowboys on Sunday. And I think that's worth caring about because if you get above the 7 seed, you don't have to worry about playing Philadelphia. Not to say that Washington can't beat Philadelphia. Obviously, they just did it, albeit against an Eagles team that did lose Jalen Hurts in the first quarter. Of course, you can, but I think I'd rather play the Rams or the Buccaneers or the Falcons as the 6th seed than the Philadelphia Eagles at the Link in January in a playoff atmosphere. So they get the 6th seed. If they win this game, I think it's important that they try to do so. Dan Quinn has already said they're going to be playing for the win. I think he thinks it's important to try to avoid that divisional matchup for as long as possible. Washington, 4.5 point favorite on the road. But like I said at the top, they did lose this game. I mean, Dallas has a losing record, standings wise, playoffs wise. There's nothing for the Cowboys to play for. But Washington was a 10.5 point favorite up in the DC game a month ago, a month and a half ago. Dallas was 3-7 back in November. And the Cowboys won that game, one of the wildest games we saw this season. The onside kick return touchdown, the regular kick return touchdown, the would-be Washington Hail Mary that didn't wind up winning them the game. Yeah, that one. Plenty of reason to think that this could be a very entertaining game. Cowboys kind of kicked off this run of good play they've been on with that win against Washington. So I'm curious to see how they do. I'm curious to see how much they have to play for. Obviously, this could be the last game that the Cowboys look like this because we don't know for sure what's going to happen with Mike McCarthy. His contract is up as soon as this game is over. His entire coaching staff's contract is up. This could be the end of the Mike McCarthy era. And it, Cowboys have not looked overly impressive at home this year. Plenty of reason to think they want to go out on a good note. Problem is just how healthy are they to do that? CeeDee Lamb not going to play in this game. Obviously, we know all the other injuries they've dealt with. Dak Prescott's not going to play. Trayvon Diggs is on injured reserve. And that leads me to the matchup I want to watch in this game. And it's basically the Dallas DB who isn't Deron Bland and how he fares against Washington's passing attack, because it was rough last week. Cowboys got their butts whipped by Philly. Like I said, they've been playing well for most of the last 6 weeks. Not last week, 41-7, belt to behind by the Eagles. And I hate to single the guy out, but Andrew Booth was victimized. He's the DB that's had to step in opposite Bland here due to all these injuries. Targeted 6 times by the Eagles, gave up 5 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Deron Bland on the other side of the secondary was targeted 5 times, gave up just 3 catches for 36 yards. Did give up a touchdown, but 36 yards compared to 111. Deron Bland hasn't given up 100 yards this season since returning from the foot injury that sidelined him for a lot of the year. So I'm going to guess Washington is going to look for the guy that's not Bland and try to get him the ball. And we know they got weapons. Obviously, Terry McLaurin needs no introduction. Maybe Deron Bland will follow him in this game. I think that's something to watch. But even if he does, Olamide Zaccheaus has been on a tear here for Washington over the last few weeks. 70 yards 2 weeks ago and 2 touchdowns against Philly. And then last week he went off for 85 and a touchdown against Atlanta. He's been getting more and more looks and doing more and more with them. So I would not be surprised if Jayden Daniels looks for Zaccheaus if he's going against Booth or whoever else the Cowboys might trot out there to try to combat Washington's passing attack. Jayden Daniels looking for his 6th straight game with 2 passing touchdowns. I like his odds to get it. I think Washington gets this win. I'm not writing the Cowboys off. They've played very well for the most part. And like I said, Mike McCarthy really good at getting guys to rise to the occasion. He's been doing it for the last 8 weeks. This could be the last time the Cowboys coaching staff looks like this. It's going to be a January full of uncertainty with the Cowboys. If I know anything about them, they're going to find a way to draw it out. I would bet any amount of money the Cowboys are not going to, whatever their decision is, however they decide to proceed with Mike McCarthy, we're not going to know the Monday after the game like we do with so many other head coaching situations. So, one last opportunity for the Cowboys to make an impression under Mike McCarthy, at least until he gets a new deal. And to hear it from people on this show, maybe it'll be a new deal with another team. Maybe it'll be in Dallas. Who the hell knows? But I'm going to savor this opportunity. Washington with plenty to play for. Dallas trying to do right by their coach before they have to make a bunch of decisions. I think this should be a surprisingly entertaining game compared to what it looks like on the schedule. Just like it was last year, or excuse me, last time out up in Washington. I do like the Commanders to win and secure that 6th seed, though.